From Studio DRC at the Daytona Regional Chamber of Commerce, this is the Crest of the Wave. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crest of the Wave, the Daytona Regional Chamber's podcast for the business community. My name is Ken Phelps, Vice President of Resource Development, coming to you from Studio DRC here at the Daytona Regional Chamber. Very interesting topic to discuss today. A strong entrepreneurial ecosystem is burgeoning here in Volusia County, and we're going to tell you about a couple of programs that are supporting that, but particularly a fantastic pitch competition. And I'm glad to introduce our guest this month. Joining us is the Director of Volusia County Economic Development, Lou Paris. Lou, thanks for taking some time with us today.
Thank you, Ken, for having me today.
So tell us a little bit. I'm not one to assume everybody knows everything about everyone. So give us a little bit of your background. I know you have a history in entrepreneurship. You've worked in some higher education setting, and now you're working in county government. So share a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. So, I've had always my whole life an interest in entrepreneurship ever since I was a kid. 13 years old, I applied for a patent, and I got it too, for skateboarding, by the way, which is like, a kid's thing. And over the years, it was a passion, and I've engaged in businesses with friends. I've actually acted upon my own ideas, and that has led me to a career path where I've been very much involved in entrepreneurial communities. Here locally started with Career Source, where I helped any person that came through the door, a job seeker that needed help with or expressed an interest in starting a business. I would work with them. And that led to working with a group where, among other things, we brought 1 million cups to town. And it was a very fun thing to see people from the community joining at one location to discuss their ideas and get feedback from the crowd. And that was my segue then into Stetson University, where for over 10 years, 12 years, I ran the entrepreneurship program for the school. And even though, I always said Stetson being a small school, we became a powerhouse in entrepreneurship. And then most recently, and it's been next month, 1 year with the county. Yeah, time flies, man. And we have been doing some very cool things for small businesses and entrepreneurs in the area.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because you came in, and I think this initiative was already a little bit underway, but obviously it's grown even in the last year. The Daytona Regional Chamber is one of the partners involved in this, but that's Volusia Business Resources. So for those of you who have not checked out that website, there's tremendous resources available there, connecting you with a lot of different organizations in the community, and there are fellow chambers of commerce. There are other practitioners involved that can support that. Career Source is part of that. There's a lot of people coming together. As I understand it, the history of that was we kind of had some conversations with some local entrepreneurs who felt like, gosh, I need access to resources, and I'm getting told to go talk to this person, and they say to go talk to this person. And they kind of got bounced around the community a little bit and not easily able to find what they needed. Talk about that ability to provide those kinds of resources for entrepreneurs at one stop, so to speak, and connect everybody.
And yes. So years ago, there were a lot of resources in town, but they were very, let me use the word disjointed. Okay, everyone was doing their own thing. So yes, if you entered the entrepreneurial ecosystem one way or another, you would get different answers to different things. So you want to get a business plan, you should be going here. If you want to do this other thing, you should go somewhere else. And I was always, when I was talking to people, the recurring theme was build a central location, build a tower where everyone comes to an entrepreneurship. And for me, that was like, I can't control how, even if I build a tower, I don't have the assurance that everyone will know about it and they will all come to the tower. So we kind of reversed the thought, and we said, what if we completely separated, in a sort of a virtual kind of way, and we actually deploy instead an army of people at all the possible or known entry points, and we give everyone the same message. Like we give them the same information. They're equipped equally so that when they're in the presence of someone who has the need for starting a business or anything pertaining a business, they receive the same message. That's what the Volusia Business Resources became, the message. It's a very powerful website where I want to say we're 42 partners at the moment with entities that are very well equipped and very resourceful to help anyone who needs anything really in running, starting a business. So that's really the genesis of it. If you look at the history of it, what put this effort, it kicked it into high gear was COVID, where all the partners I think saw the same need, and that's what made this website come to fruition a lot quicker. So.
I think one of the things that I have enjoyed about taking part in it and representing the Daytona Regional Chamber as part of Volusia Business Resources is the ability for that group to meet people where they are, because not everybody's at the same stage in their journey of starting a business, and those were some of the very early conversations, maybe even predating your coming on as the economic development director. But you've got some folks who they might be at like kindergarten or first grade in their business journey. Others might be ready to graduate and they're looking for a little more sophisticated support. To be able to have folks who speak the language at whichever level, and it's one of the things we say all the time in the chamber world. If starting a business were easy, everybody would do it, but it's not. It's an incredibly grinding journey. You have to have a passion for it. Entrepreneurs tell me all the time, I quit my 40-hour-a-week job so I could work 80. That's part of it. I think for me, that's a fascinating part of that organization and that collaborative, because not every community collaborates as well as we do here in Volusia County.
And I agree with you. And I've seen it. I mean, I lived and worked in 6 different countries. The entrepreneurial ecosystem here is phenomenal. It's something to be very proud of. And you're right. Every organization has specialized in a specific group. They cater to a specific kind of group, and we all know it. That's the best part. If for certain things, the SBDC shines, they're a star, and for others, it will be a SCORE or a different organization. And man, the language does go a long way. And I'll be the first one to admit that I'm guilty of it, because I'll be having worked in academia for 10 years. You at some point forget that there's terms that mean nothing to the rest of the world. And what opened my eyes to this, I went through a program called Human-Centered Design that taught entrepreneurship in plain language, in plain English. And when I realized that, I thought it was so powerful. And so that's why today I very much appreciate any organization that can speak business without using jargon or using business language. It's a phenomenal thing to do, because now you're empowering people who normally would they have a great idea, they have the drive, they have everything, but not necessarily the language. Now they can understand it.
Absolutely. Well, and you're talking about bolstering the entrepreneurial ecosystem here in Volusia County. You mentioned 1 Million Cups. That was one of the first places I went when I moved back home to Volusia County after almost 2 decades in Pennsylvania. There are a lot of resources out here, but one of the reasons we wanted to have Lou on this month and talk about this program is a new initiative that's of Volusia County, but has roots in other organizations, and that's a Volusia Innovation Challenge. If you have not heard about it yet, trust me, you will. There's a lot coming. The Volusia Innovation Challenge will be designed to help encourage entrepreneurs and have them take that idea and go, I just don't know, and okay, and change that to, okay, maybe I'll just take that first step and that risk. But it's not a brand new idea that we have created here in Volusia County. There's an existing program in the Carnes Innovation Challenge. Tell us a little bit about your knowledge of the history of that and kind of then where we're going into the Volusia Innovation Challenge.
Absolutely. So Jim Cairns, who was a very successful entrepreneur, is a very successful entrepreneur in Volusia County, started having conversations with the ecosystem among one of the key players, the Incubator. And one thing he realized was, and I can attest to this, we have phenomenal talent here in Volusia through the schools. Now, if you were to ask, to this day, I think this is still, to some extent, a true statement. If you were to ask the senior students at Stetson, Embry-Riddle, Bethune-Cookman, any higher education institution, Daytona State, what they're going to do when they graduate, they would say, we're going to leave as quickly as we can. And it's not because opportunities are not here, they're simply not exposed to those opportunities. So his thought was, if we can empower one or a few of those students to start a business and build their future and build their business here in Volusia County, we all win. And so the Innovation Challenge, without the Volusia at first, as it originally existed for over a decade, was meant to have students from all the higher education institutions in Volusia County competing against each other with their innovation. And it was innovation-based. It has always been. So basically, you had to have something, a new idea, And so we would have 6 finalists compete head-to-head, present their idea for 10 minutes in front of a group of judges. And man, was that a magical experience. A lot of really cool things happened from that. And I got to be part of being with Stetson. I got to compete probably half those years. And the best part for me was, because you think, it's a competition, so you always think first, second, third place. Those are the guys who you're excited for, and the guys who won. In reality, I would say the winners were anyone who had the courage, and that's a right word, courage, to present their idea, to kind of put themselves out there and get feedback. They all won mainly because they got so much feedback. It was. I would have teams that lost. I mean, when I say lost. And they would be sitting there and they would be reading the feedback as to why they were not chosen to be a winner or a qualifier in the first place. And you could see the wheel spinning. And at least twice, I remember students walking to my office, "Hey, I lost this year. Can you help me win next year?" And I said, "I'll help you, not necessarily win. I'll help you make your business a reality." But it took that initial push, that initial, let me try this, for them to realize, I need to do this. I can do this, and I have what it takes. I have the resources. I know people. I know now where to get what I need to make it happen. Boy, was that! I mean, that's exactly what made this event successful, powerful.
Yeah, and that as a big proponent of education, both K-12, public, higher education, we literally have an embarrassment of riches here in Volusia County for the varying types of education you can get here. All of the people who say, "Oh, the next generation, kids these days, we're doomed." I think you just need to interact with some of these students at various institutions around our community, because they are remarkable and it's inspiring. I can't imagine you on almost an annual basis just being able to draw the inspiration from seeing them succeed and grow in their journey.
Yes, and let me say this. Innovators are not necessarily known to be, or they're not equipped to start a business. And so that was part of the magic, helping, someone who's a music major or someone who is an engineer realize that, hey, this idea that you have, it can turn into a business. Let's make that happen. Now, at the tail end of this, what was the Cairns Innovation Challenge, Jim Cairns, he rightfully so. This man has done a lot for the community, and he decided to step down. And we saw an opportunity to be able to do more with this event. And so now it is the Volusia Innovation Challenge, where we invite not just the students, but everyone in the community. It doesn't matter who you are, as long as you're in Volusia County and you have a business idea and you're acting upon this idea, you are welcome to compete. So
I think that's the important transition in the life of this event, and even changing that event that's an entrepreneurial thought process of, okay, we have this existing program. Could somebody have picked it up and kept doing it exactly as it was? Absolutely. But good innovation, good entrepreneurial spirit, it says, hey, maybe we can provide this opportunity to others in the community. That's a thing I think that is really exciting for me, is we don't know where the next great idea is going to come from. And it could be somebody who's just been, working away in their career in entry level or mid management or something, but they've always just had this idea, this like a splinter of the mind that they just didn't have. They didn't have the resources or inspiration to act on. Who knows? This may pull them out, and who knows where this goes from here.
And I'll give you a very visual example that I like using because people connect with it. Yes, we could have continued helping the students, and there's a lot of great ideas. Man, have I heard amazing ideas that if half of them made it into the market, I mean, the potential is amazing. Now, the example that I use is that right now, you and I are sitting here right now, in this morning, there is a mom out there in Volusia County sitting in her home office and with a great idea, and she is getting started with it, and she faces certain hurdles. And this is an opportunity for that mom to be able to present that idea to a group of individuals who are very knowledgeable and very well aware of how this can actually pan out and help that person, help that mom in Volusia County. And like her, there's tons of people. Think about all the retired individuals in Volusia County who have great ideas and have expertise, and now they have an outlet to be able to make that a reality. And it's a numbers game. I'm of the opinion that by helping a cohort every year, if we help a cohort of people who want to act upon their ideas, it's only a matter of time until many of those ideas become reality, and some of those ideas become home runs.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit now, getting into the Volusia Innovation Challenge, because hopefully we've piqued the interest of that person listening who's going, "Hey, I have an idea. Okay, tell me more."
Yeah.
In the month of January, applications will open. People will be able to kind of put their foot out there a little bit, so to speak. Can you talk about the process for an entrepreneur or an innovator? And when we say entrepreneur or innovator, that's not like a qualifier. You don't have to already have done that.
No.
You're just a Volusia County resident who has an idea and thinks, hey, maybe there's something to this, to kind of bring that forward. What's the best way for them to get engaged so they can learn more about this process, embark on this journey in the Volusia Innovation Challenge?
Absolutely. So I love what you said. There's no pre-qualifier in terms of experience for this. You just have to be willing and ready to act upon your idea. And you need to complete an application, and we'll be we have a group of let me call them judges who will be vetting every applicant and looking at the person, the idea, and making assessments to see again who makes it forward. Everyone is going to get feedback. If you apply, with any kind of idea, you will get substantial feedback. That's one of the rules that we gave ourselves. We said we have to give everyone sufficient feedback for them to be, for this to be worth their time. The applications will be available through the month of January. And the best way to find it is through the Volusia Business Resources, volusiabusinessresources.com. And in there is on the upper menu, there is Innovation Challenge. And you just click on it. And we are going out of our way to make this as easy as possible for the applicants. We're creating, in fact, after this interview, I need to go and create. There's a couple of still items that we're creating to help anyone who is applying clearly understand what it takes to submit a great application, and we take it over from them from that point on. So once we see the application, we look at everyone, and we'll be creating that funnel. But everyone who applies gets substantial feedback.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this comes forward. And the thing that has been most exciting about the conversations that have taken place amongst all the partners who are supporting this effort is we're out to help everybody that gets engaged, not undermine them in any way. So one of the conversations we've had at recent meetings has been with regard to somebody who has an idea that may be a little more advanced, and they may have intellectual property, they may have patents that they need to protect. There have been steps taken to ensure that, listen, just because you participate in this challenge, you're not going to lose the ability to capitalize on your idea. And for anybody that's at kind of that stage, we share a little bit about that, because I know you've got some background in intellectual property and understanding protecting that and how important that is for those who might say, hey, it sounds interesting, but there's no way I'm sharing my idea and letting somebody steal it. What can you describe some of the things that are in place to help protect them?
As I do that, let me say that I've been in touch with a lot of people who have ideas, and you'll be surprised how often someone who wants to act upon it, their idea, are reluctant to share it, even with the people who are supposed to help them, because they think someone's going to take my idea. Quick anecdote that I once witnessed, and this was a beautiful story that exemplifies the attitude that you should have in these situations. We had an event years ago called Startup Quest, and we had probably 200 people in the room from Volusia County listening to a successful entrepreneur discuss in detail how he built his business. And at some point in this sea of people, 200 people, one person raises their hand and he goes, "Aren't you afraid that one of us will copy your idea?" He was quiet for just what seemed like 5 seconds. And he looked at the crowd. He goes, "You know how much work that is?" So basically saying, hey, don't worry about people copying your idea. It's a lot of work, and you have to put a lot of effort. Can it happen? Sure, it can happen. But now going into the ways that you protect your ideas, let me say that not every idea can be protected, meaning that sometimes you're taking things that already exist, putting them together, and voila, you have something new, but not necessarily that merits a patent in itself. There's other ways that you can protect it through trademarks and copyright. And we recognize in this new version of the competition that we will have ideas that will not necessarily have a patent, but if you'd require so, we're proposing to individuals who will find themselves in that situation, hey, if you think that you are in a position to apply for a utility patent, which is the most common type of protection that an inventor would go for, and besides a design patent, to have give them the resources they need to be able to have some level of protection before the competition, mainly applying for a provisional patent status. So we do know at least 2 IP attorneys in town who are on the ready to be able to help some of these individuals. I used to do this, man. In a single year at Stetson, I filed about 7 provisional patent applications. I don't know if they were bulletproof or not, but we were giving the student at least the peace of mind that when they were presenting the idea, there is a document, a USPTO, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, to be able to discuss it with people. And so it's anyone who has an idea, you can feel comfortable going to this competition, knowing that we'll help you protect it and guide you along the way to be able to continue down that path with protection.
So we've got a process for folks to get engaged. Let's talk a little bit about that journey now. When they've taken that leap, they've got the application in. There's varying stages kind of this process. It's going to culminate in a wonderful pitch competition in late March. But it's not just like, hey, submit your application and then we'll see you in 2 months and you never hear from us. There's going to be some opportunities for folks to get some coaching to help them understand what does it mean to pitch, because that, again, specialized skill set almost that people who have great ideas maybe have never done that before. So you can talk a little bit about their journey once they've kind of made the commitment to jump in the competition.
Let me tell you about the journey with a story, and then I'll break down the story. In teaching at Stetson, I had a class where the students were meant to compete every time. These were students who had business ideas, and they were meant to be every opportunity that we had. If we knew of a competition, they were very strongly encouraged to engage. And I had the student who was, by the way, a student who was local. I saw her at Publix like 2 weeks ago. Hey, how's it going? And it was her turn to get in front of the group and present her idea. She had what I thought was a very simple yet good idea, very effective for baking. And Ken, she got up there. She lasted probably 10 seconds, and she started crying, and she ran off the stage. And I'm standing there like, what happened here? And so I realized this student doesn't feel comfortable, and we need to coach the student. And we provided her with assistance with certain aspects of her business idea, but also with her the structure of her pitch. And I said, I know you didn't feel comfortable. Give me a week to work together. Just sit with me several sessions. She took second place in the actual competition. on the innovation challenge, and she didn't win because number one was also one of ours, but the other idea was in healthcare, and usually healthcare has a lot of eyes on it. But with her simple idea, she was so good with the pitch that more people came to her after the pitch, to more investors, to discuss advancing her idea than anyone else that I saw in the room. So breaking that down, we know that people coming to us are not experts. We know that they're not savvy at creating the structure of the presentation or knowing what to say in the first place. So we are going to hold several sessions where we'll walk them through every single aspect of being successful, at least launching the business. So with the financials, the marketing, and so forth. And of course, how to present this. And we will make sure that by the time the competition comes, all the finalists are ready to go. And I am yet to see, give me the person who feels the most awkward and uncomfortable in public. That person will be a rock star by the time they present. This student who ran 10 seconds into her presentation, then took second place with, when you look at someone like, what did I create a monster? Like she was just incredible. I was like, she was better than anyone else pitching, and so that's what practice makes. So anyone can do it.
Yeah. So we're going to have March 27th is the pitch competition. Obviously, not everybody that applies gets to that level, but we work with coaching, get them presenting. There's going to be opportunities to take home some great prizes that really could be a spark behind getting this business launched. It's an exciting time because I think there's a lot of positive momentum in Volusia County in a lot of areas, and if we can continue to drive this entrepreneurial ecosystem forward, I think we're going to see great things for the community.
We will, and it's already happened with the previous version of this competition. I can tell you, one of the businesses that did not win, right now, the last I heard, and this is just a few months ago, they had a new round of investments worth $8 or $9 million.
And they did not win the competition. Usually, in my opinion, if you ask me, the most successful people that come out of this are sometimes, not always, the people who do not win, because they are, oh my God, because in their mind it's like, I did not win. I need to change this. And if I'm not going to win because the judges did not like my idea, the market will love my idea. And that happens very frequently. I'll use an example of a very successful entrepreneur in town, Corinne Heck with Details Flowers. The first pitch that she went to in Orlando, we went to support her, and I was standing at the bottom of the stairs of the stage when she finished. The judges were not kind to her at all. And so when she walked down, she looked at me, and she was on the verge of tears. But the one thing she said to me, like, Lou, I'm going to prove these guys wrong. Boy, did she do it in an epic way. She has, I think she's upwards of 10 or 11 employees, with an amazing revenue. She's poised for, her company has been growing leaps and bounds every year. That's what we expect to see with anyone who participates. Anyone who submits an application has the potential to become a Corinne Heck in our community. Imagine having 10 of those a year in Volusia County. Incredible. It's a tremendous economic driver.
Yeah.
And Corinne, a couple of years ago, was the Daytona Regional Chamber's Small Business of the Year.
Oh, yes.
So just as to give you an idea of like that, this has legs. This isn't pie in the sky. This isn't some of the TV shows you see out there where you've got a 1 in a million shot to even get on to present your idea. This is about driving entrepreneurism in Volusia County in a very real, tangible way.
Yes.
And it's not always about the winning and the grand prize. It is about, and we've had this conversation amongst our team that's working on this. Our goal is to cast a wide net and to really bring everybody in, to encourage that person who's just not quite there yet to go, okay, maybe I can do it, because they don't feel like they're on their own. So it's exciting. I think these next couple of months are going to be really fascinating to watch, and the journey of some of our local residents is going to be amazing.
It will be, and we're monitoring. We have been looking. So all this time since end of last year, people have been able to, I wouldn't say register, but be able to put their email address to be reminded when the applications open. We have a ton of people. We have, at this point, I think upwards of 60 individuals. So if you're listening, I really strongly recommend that you once the application opens, submit it. Here's what, if the worst that can happen is that you get a ton of feedback that will help you advance the idea. But I guarantee you 100%, if you do nothing will happen. 100% guaranteed.
Yeah, that is an absolute certainty. Well, Lou, thanks for taking some time to come in and talk about this a little bit. It's an exciting event and program. I'm thrilled on behalf of the Daytona Regional Chamber to be able to take part in this. And we are about driving commerce in the community, and this is another way to do it. It's not necessarily always about recruiting existing businesses to come in. We want to cultivate that ecosystem here locally, that they grow right here from within our community.
Ken, thank you for everything you and your organization do. You guys are phenomenal partners. Your energy is incredible, and just being here and having this opportunity to be here, you guys created this, so I'm very appreciative.
Well, thank you for the time. Looking forward to seeing what happens with the Volusia Innovation Challenge, and that will bring this episode to a close. We want to remind you, subscribe. We're on all of the major platforms with our audio version. The video version, if you're watching this, obviously is on our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing there so you can get reminders every time we release new content, and then share and spread the word. Encourage people to listen, because we want to bring this kind of valuable information that you may not be aware of in the community, so that it's out there broadly and accessible for everyone. That's only going to benefit our community in the long run. Also, a reminder, we have sponsorship opportunities available. If you're interested in that, please reach out to us here at the Daytona Regional Chamber. And as we close, if you're interested in the Volusia Innovation Challenge, go to VolusiaBusinessResources.com, click on Innovation Challenge, complete the application, or put your email in to get reminded and notified. We want to encourage people to do that. So, Lou, thanks again.
Thank you.
For everybody listening and watching, we're glad to have you here, and we'll see you next time. So long, everybody. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts. For more information on our business community, visit our website at DaytonaChamber.com. Until next time, be ready to catch the next crest of the wave.